In the early morning hours, as the sun rises on the horizon on April 3rd, AD 33, the Jewish leaders remain in the Colonnade of the Fortress Antonia in order to not become ritualistically defiled. The prefect Pilate, understanding the purity laws of the Jewish people as he's been over them for several years now, comes out to them as to see a bound man that they have brought to him. Pilate asks what the charge they are bringing against this man is. They answer, if he hadn't done something wrong, we would not have brought him to you. To which Pilate says, you take him and judge him according to your own law. In reply, they say, we don't have the legal power to put anyone to death. Pilate, being intrigued by this, sees that he is charged with tax evasion, sedition, and blasphemy. Much to the dismay of the brothers, he orders the prisoner to be brought into the fortress so that he can interrogate him. Inside his courtroom, Pilate asks Messiah, are you the king of the Jews? To which he responds, are you asking this on your own, or have other people told you about me? Pilate retorts, am I a Jew? Your own nation and head Kohanim have handed you over to me. What have you done? Yeshua, using common logic and his divinity, answers, my kingship does not derive its authority from this world's order of things. If it did, my men would have fought to keep me from being arrested by the Judeans. But my kingship does not come from here. Pilate, as being a rational man, realizes that if he was a political threat to Rome, then his followers would be attacking the garrison right now. However, he is a king, but of what? So then Pilate says to him, you are a king after all. Yeshua responds with what would be a cautious affirmative, you say I am a king. The reason I have been born, the reason I have come into this world is to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who belongs to truth listens to me. Going back to the head Kohanim and the crowds, Pilate states that he hasn't found grounds for a charge against him. The leaders persist that he has been inciting the nation with his teachings throughout all of Judea, and that he started in the Galilee. Herod Antipater's jurisdiction is the Galilee and Perea, which means all Galileans and Pereans are held accountable to Herod. At this time, Pilate questions if the prisoner is from the Galilee and sends him to his enemy Herod. Pilate summons the head Kohanim, the leaders, and the people after Christ is returned to him. Pilate says to them, you brought this man before me on a charge of subverting the people. I examined him in your presence and did not find the man guilty of the crime you are accusing him of. And neither did Herod, because he sent him back to us. Clearly he has done nothing that merits the death penalty. Therefore, what I will do is have him flogged and release him. The crowds yell that they want an insurgent named Bar Abba released and Yeshua executed. Pilate asks them, but what has this man done wrong? I haven't found any reason to put him to death, so I'm going to have him flogged and set free. As the crowd persists, he has Bar Abba released from his cell, but still under guard. Pilate comes back outside again to the Judeans and tells them, I don't find any case against him. However, you have a custom that at Passover I set one prisoner free. Do you want me to set free for you the king of the Jews? Suddenly, a bloodied figure in crippled agony appears to the crowd, promoting Pilate to say, look at the man. The head Kohanim and the temple guards start shouting, put him to death on the stake, put him to death on the stake. Pilate, knowing that he hasn't committed a crime worthy of death according to Roman law, tells the crowds to judge him according to their laws. The Judeans answer that he is guilty of blasphemy and must be killed. Pilate, frightened by the crowd, asks Yeshua, where are you from? Yeshua doesn't answer and is reprimanded as Pilate replies, "You refuse to speak to me. Don't you understand that it is in my power either to set you free or to have you executed on the stake?" Yeshua answered Pilate, "You would have no power over me if it hadn't been given to you from above. This is why the one who handed me over to you is guilty of greater sin." At this moment, the Judeans shout, "If you set this man free, it means you are not a friend of the emperor. Everyone who claims to be a king is opposing the emperor." Now Pilate sits down in Gapta, the pavement. Both Ba'aba and Yeshua are brought out into this area and stand on either side of Pilate. Though both are under heavy guard, Ba'aba is most likely chained to a column. As a riot, which is one of the first steps to a rebellion, is starting, Pilate asks again who they want. Pilate, seeing that his attempts are futile and he is being forced to condemn an innocent man or suffer death for civil unrest, he sets Ba'aba free, an action that can result in his death. His servant brings him a basin full of water and a towel. As he washes and dries his hands, he states, "My hands are clean of this man's blood. It's your responsibility." The leaders say his blood is on us and on our children. This one response means that these men, their sons, their grandsons, and their great-grandsons will now be liable for the blood of Yeshua. Yeshua is handed over to an execution detail. After the resurrection, Pilate and his wife Claudia both are stated to have become Christians. In AD 36, Pilate was recalled to Rome for putting down a rebellion of Samaritans and was replaced by Prefect Marcellus. Approximately on June 25th, AD 39, Pilate dies as a martyr. O Lord, who didst will that thy word should take flesh, a message of an angel, grant to us, thy supplicants. Eternal Shepherd, look graciously upon thy flock with the aid of those whom thou didst appoint pastors of the universal church. Keep it under thy continual protection. Grant, we beseech thee, Almighty Lord, that the appointment and the leadership of thy ministers may increase our devotion and promote our salvation. In other words, we humbly ask that you allow the ministers that you have called to help us grow our devotion to you and help us to promote salvation for others by leading them to your Son. Amen.